Well, we had plans to fire ring this and machine it, but got some cracks. So luckily this is one of those heat induction valve seat heads, so I don't have to worry about valve seats falling out, but pretty good sized cracks where they marked it. And then can't remember which side I saw it on. Let's see, it's on the exhaust, or no, it's on the intake side. Okay, so yeah, right here. Try to get that. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe you can kind of see it kind of by my thumb there. There's a little bit of an orange line on the inside. Small one there, and then there was another one, yeah. Okay. And then right by my fingertip, you can see that kind of a scratch looking. That's actually a small crack too. But yeah, so it's not leaking. We're just gonna run it for a while. So got a 53 block that's not cracked yet. Truck's got about 300,000 miles on it. So the fact that the truck's been stock its whole life, I think that this cracking is just from perhaps a lot of engine hours. You know, really short trips, a lot of heat cycles, and I don't know. You'd think that stock power it wouldn't happen, but you know, just goes to show that even a babied higher mile truck, you can run into problems like this. I checked the warpage, and I originally wasn't even going to send it to the machine shop till I decided, like, well, it'd be a good time for fire rings. And anyway, what I checked, we're about 5 thousandths out. I can't remember where at it was out, but block is just barely over 1,000th. We're talking like 1.5 thousandths out. So the block is fine as long as it lives when we put it back together and, you know, see how hard it lets me run it before we have issues. My guess is this head's gonna fail us before anything else does. So just roll with it. Anyway, since it's off, I'm gonna pour it out, do a little work with this stuff, and wanted to show y'all what the factory casting looks like. So I wanted to show y'all what the factory casting looks like, and I mean, it's rough. Like inside there, that is just not good looking. I mean, it looks like chunks have busted off and, you know, went through the exhaust. I don't know if all of them are this rough, you know, all engines, but some of these look fine like that, but yeah, my goodness, that's just terrible. Looks like maybe it melted at one point just from turbulence, you know, hot air getting trapped. So we're gonna clean that all up, and I don't know, should change we'll pour out the exhaust as well, and should sound pretty good, and maybe get some good fuel mileage. Reason being, you know, just port match and not like hogging it all out is we want to keep velocity up. So being on a smaller turbo, I mean, being a VP truck in general, the idea is not to take too much meat out so we don't lose all of our bottom end. So for starters, I'm just taking this bit here and delipping the valve seat area, deshrouding the valve, I guess is what it would be called, because this is kind of a it's not a sharp, like I could probably cut my finger on it if I went really quick. So it's basically knocking the edge down, and I figured I probably shouldn't get too close over here. There's not really a reason to improve flow next to the sealing surface, so that's where we're at. I'll keep going through this and then get down there in the ports or in the bowl area. The other thing is just these ports. It's got a bit of a flat spot here, so we're just gonna make it a perfect gasket match and probably just take a little bit out. I don't want to take a lot out of here, mostly just bowl work because we don't want to cause it to spool poorly or anything like that. So here is pretty much the finished product. Really opened them up. I didn't like open them up, but decent amount of material that got removed. You can see all the metal shavings there on the floor. Just kind of worked the ramp, gave it a good runner, and then just like, so, oops, see how that's got kind of a sharp edge to it. That's the way all of these short radiuses were. Let's get the flashlight in there. So the top, that short radius, they were pretty sharp, and air doesn't like to move, neither does fluid, it likes to move like that. So we got a nice curve to it. And then I came and took a 60 grit sander and just cleaned everything up. This is smooth. And only got into one valve seat where the bit jumped, and I can't even tell you where that was because it barely got it. But then like right here, you can still kind of see where that crack was. Well, the crack's still there. Not big. Like I said, it's not leaking, but they're present, so. All right, it's time for a little update. We got the power-driven 4.5K valve springs in, stock retainers and keepers, and ported everything out. Have some stainless diesel studs, MLS manifold gaskets, and power-driven T3 manifold. So gonna stay T3 for the time being. Power-driven recently made over 1,000 horsepower on T3, so I really can't see myself making more than that at this time. And the way I see it is T3 can make a great towing setup, so I'll never have a reason to have a tow truck that makes more than 1,000 horse. So, you know, if I'm gonna be making 4-digit power, I'm gonna need a tow rig anyway, and we'll just put T3 on it. So that way we can just swap to T4 and, you know, not waste money and stuff. So anyway, we're gonna get this manifold put on, get all this wrapped up. So on this power-driven manifold, just like the stock ones, they're not gasket matched. So I actually removed quite a bit of material. The top didn't need much at all, but the rest of it did. Probably gained about 1/8 of an inch in each port. And then as far as these pedestals, I just wanted to point out that you do have an oil galley, oil pathway. So our oil feed is right here, and just got to make sure that we line that up so that you get oil to your rockers properly. I just want to say thank you to Cutter Up Rob, Josh McCormick, and Power Driven, and there's a few other guys out there. You know, anybody that's making videos designed to help all of us who aren't running our own performance shop. It really does help us, because I remember I'm old enough that I grew up in the era where I wasn't participating, but I definitely did read the forums, and a lot of that's what influenced me to go to college for diesel. But they don't teach you anything about performance. You're not going to learn what parts need to be upgraded in order to spin an engine at a high RPM, or anything about piston to wall or ring gap. You're not going to be taught a performance mindset or a performance set of skills in one of those trade schools. I mean, you learn the fundamentals and how to fix stuff and keep it on the road, but I'm just super thankful for all of you guys. I don't even know if you'll ever watch this video, but if you do, I just know that I'm thankful for that information. And I'm just pretty much a nobody that likes working on his own stuff, just like we all do. Anyway, I went with these Hamilton valve bridges. So as we can see, let me flip this around. These Hamilton valve bridges, they're not very expensive, but they are a pretty good upgrade. So as you can see, we gained quite a bit of material underneath of them. So that's what we're going to be going with. Like I said, we got the power-driven 4,500 RPM springs and still stock retainers and keepers. Did some port work to it. And also these threaded freeze plugs, which I thought I had the right size Allen for this. So I'm going to have to go to the hardware store or Napa or something to figure out where to get one. But they came with the tap. I already got all of them threaded. So we'll get those put in. And the rest of these rockers put on. Make sure to mark them all just to keep them in the same place. On this thought here, I feel it's very important to mention this. So like I said, we got the Hamilton valve bridges and went with the Hamilton push rods. These puppies are beefy. I'll get a better view of them. Okay, so yeah, like I said, we went with Hamilton, and those are a lot bigger. In addition, with these valve springs, it's been noted to myself that you need to upgrade the bridges at the same time, because the added pressure from a heavier spring can cause the stock ones to break. You might get by for a while, but nobody wants to break one. I mean, if you break one of these, you're basically going to be running on a dead cylinder because the valves aren't going to be working. So, like I said, Hamilton ones, super cheap and a lot stronger. So for the 4,500 RPM springs, these can be perfect. I just want to say a big thank you to the guys down there at Hamilton. My order from Hamilton, I actually had a problem. I don't know if the package was just lost or if it was stolen, but I gave it a fair amount of time. You know, like it should have been delivered, waited like 3 days, and then called Hamilton up and wondered about it. And they don't have a shipping insurance option like some of the other companies. Anyway, when both parties, Hamilton and myself, realized that there was an issue with it, kind of got in touch with, I can't remember if it was like FedEx or UPS, but either way, we were in touch with them, in touch with Hamilton, and kind of explained the situation, and they just said that they would take care of it. They sent me a new order within just a couple days of the problem, and it didn't cost me anything. So Hamilton, 100% a great company to work with. Obviously, I've got the power-driven banner back there. I've had very few issues. Any issues I've had with them have just been like one thing getting mispackaged, and it was super simple to figure out. You know, they just had me send some pictures and then got it straightened out, shipped what they needed to with no charge, even paid for the shipping. So very, very good relationship going with those guys. And like I don't say it, but I'm not sponsored by anybody. So just a guy in his garage. All right, so upon installing these threaded freeze plugs, realized that I didn't have a Allen that big. So what I did was use 2 screwdrivers to start them. Just like that. Got it started because it's kind of tight for my fingers. And then so these punches that I have are really hard, and just kind of wedged it in there. And voila. So got, let's say, close to 2/3 of the plug threaded in, somewhere between half and 2/3. Should hold. If it doesn't, it's just under the valve cover, so that's not a big deal. All right, so we got the Molly standard head gasket, and they only go one way, if you were ever curious about that. So you've got a dowel here, the front of the engine, it's on the left, and then one right here. I was actually missing this front one, so I had to order one. Got an Interstate McBee one, and coolant passages slowly get bigger as you go towards the back to promote flow. I don't know why cylinder 5 is a little smaller like that, but that's the way they designed it. Anyway, you can't mess this up, so the dowel holes are a little bit bigger. Oh, and I also found the dowel that I thought I was missing. It was actually pushed completely in. So I just stuck my punch down in there, caught the side of it, and just tapped her down. So I'm just gonna remove it since I got that new one over there. I pulled this gasket back off because I just wanted to show y'all. No rust at all. This looks exactly the way that I left it. What I did was just, after I cleaned everything up, sprayed WD-40 over it and then just laid some saran wrap over the top. And it's been this way, no head on it, for a month and a half anyway, maybe even 2 months. So just something to think about if you guys get in that situation. I was waiting on the machine shop and then like super cold temps, yada yada. So anyway, WD-40, and it did its job really well.